Hi, I thought I'd introduce you to my children today. Oh, not the two I've got that you might know of. I mean, my other children. Like most people, I started off fencing competitively with foil, and this is the foil that I used to use. It's slightly different in that the grip that I used was what they call an orthopedic grip, which means that it is molded to fit your hand. This is sometimes called the Italian grip or Belgian grip. And if you look closely, you'll see that, I'll try to get this into the camera so that you can see it better. It has a horn on the top and two spurs underneath. The horn fits in between the thumb and the front two fingers. The two front fingers fit in front of the first spur on the bottom, and the back two fingers fit in between the two spurs. This bit here, which can be weighted for different purposes, gives you a bit of leverage, and it also makes it so that you've got more control of it against the butt of your hand. The foil is a very light weapon, very whippy, but an orthopedic grip like this makes it so that you have to hold it exactly the right way, with the thumb on the top pointing in exactly the right way. It makes it so that you've got a better grip, you've got more control of it, left and right, up and down. This is just my preference. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with the traditional grip, which they call the French grip, which is just a straight handle on there. The advantage to the French grip is that, well, one advantage is that you can hold it up right behind the foil there, and you've got more, you're closer to the turning movement, so that you've got more leverage. But if you want to get just that little bit more reach, you can slip down the handle and you've got an extra, what would that be, 5 centimeters? You can't do that with something like this. The other one that there'll be another one that I'll show you later on, which is called a pistol grip. But this was my foil. It's an FIE blade, which means that it's been tested to an international standard that makes it so that I can use this anywhere in the world. That's my first child. I then went on to épée, and this is, when you fence competitively, you have to have 2 weapons, because if one weapon breaks, and it happens, you can either break a blade, or what more often happens is that the wiring in your blade breaks down, so that your hits aren't registering properly, in which case you have to have another weapon that you can pick up, otherwise you're disqualified. This is what they call a pistol grip, or a K1, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pistol with, and we'll go this way around so that you can see that there's the ridging for the thumb on the top there. The top horn on the top again comes in between the thumb and the forefinger, but instead you've got all your other fingers on the pistol, on the underneath into that grip there, and that bit there comes up against your the butt of your hand. Again, there's pretty much only one way that you can hold this. To me, and again, this is a personal preference, because I broke my wrist many years ago, you can see that it's not straight. I've got a very weak wrist there, so I need as much surface area that I can grip onto as I can. So the orthopedic grip was the best one for me. An épée is a longer, thicker, stronger blade, and it's used differently in the competition rules. Again, FIE blade, it's a good weapon, but this is my favorite. Again, it's an orthopedic grip, which is called I think that this is closest to a Belgian grip. It's made by Absolute, which is an American firm, and so that you can see, it's got the horn on the top, 2 spurs underneath. Top horn goes in between just behind your thumb, 2 fingers in front of the front spur, the other 2 fingers behind. You grip it. There's only one way you can hold it, and you've got a lot more surface area to grip onto. Very nice. These competition blades, they're sporting equipment. They're not a weapon as such, although we call them a weapon because they're descended from weapons. Those 2 are for what I call competition fencing, sometimes called Olympic fencing because it's in the Olympics. I nowadays fence what they call HEMA, Historic European Martial Arts, and this is my blade. It needs cleaning. I apologise for that. But the first thing that you might notice is that it's got the kind of blade that you would recognise as being a historic type of grip on it. There are 2 ways to grip the sabre. As you would know if you've been following the Old Sword Club online sabre lessons, like so, with the thumb on the top, or like so, with the thumb on the side. That gives you more control for thrusting. You'll notice that my hand, or more properly my wrist, is at that angle for the thrust. This is more for the cut because you can get more power and grip on it for the cut. But if I try to use this for a thrust, I've really got to work to bring that wrist up into the air, which when you've got a gammy wrist like mine, not a good thing. There's a certain amount of controversy at the moment about should HEMA weapons have orthopedic grips on them. Now, that's probably a subject for another video. But one thing that well, 2 things really that you need to think about, to my mind. One is the fact that if you put an orthopedic grip on this, it's not the same weapon that would have been used by Alfred Hutton back in the 19th century. So how can you call it historic European martial arts if you're not using a historic weapon? The other thing is too, excuse me, old man's phlegm. I haven't got anything actually. If you've got an orthopedic grip, and the most common ones have got sort of like a spur that comes out of the side, so that you can rest your thumb on that and you've got more grip on it. I'm not sure if you'd be able to move from this grip to that grip easily, but it's possible. It depends. If you're it depends on if you're turning, if you look on your HEMA as being a competition sport, or if you look on it as being something where you're trying to recreate the type of fencing that people might have done in the 19th, 18th, 17th century. As always, stay safe, stay cool, don't do anything I wouldn't do, which leaves you a lot of leeway. Bye.